evening once again. M.M Out here, over there, everywhere, all over the place. In this case, right here. And again, we are graced with the presence of the Apostle William Royce Canterbury. He who contested the last two general elections, and God's willing, shall contest the very next one, whenever it is.
Yes, sir.
How are you doing, sir?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Pleased to have you here.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Before we start, I want to say hi to Gary Walters from Barbados, and to Pretty Lavia from Kenya.
Wow.
Pretty is her name, actually. Pretty, that's her name. Pretty Lavia, who watches M.M Out There.
That's awesome.
And in the comments, she's from Kenya.
From Kenya, okay.
Yes. And so, hi there to you. Apostle.
Yes, sir.
We have had recently some visits from African leaders. Indeed, one was a state visit.
Yes.
The Kenyan president,
yes.
and he received a 21-gun salute and all the fanfare and all that. And it's always good to have our African brothers visit us, and we should be connected with them. As long as you're a black man, you're an African, because you came from there. I am from Liberia, for instance. You can trace me directly back to Liberia.
Everybody's from Africa.
Yeah, but I'm from Liberia, direct, right? So you can trace me back there, and you can all trace yourselves. There are ways you can do it, like how But what did we benefit anything from this?
Well, I think it's obvious that from back during the election there was some question about a Nigerian businessman who had supposedly supported one particular political party here in Barbados. And subsequent to that, there were always also information about other businessmen from African nations who would have supposedly supported a particular political party here in Barbados as well. I think it's important because I've had meetings with Dr. Eichel Tafari, back then, who was the head of the Pan-African.
The late Eichel Tafari. Hutchinson, yeah. He actually was my friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was the head of the Pan-African Commission, very, very instrumental in building relationships with our African heritage and brethren. But one of the things that we have to understand is we have to know, if I want a relationship with you, I have to be clear about what that relationship is. If I look at African nations like Nigeria, like Kenya, Ghana, and I pay attention to the state of the country and the leadership of the country, okay, then I have to begin to ask myself questions. I can understand political association, but what is the reason behind it? And so many times when I'm looking at what is going on, Barbados is a small island developing state, okay? And yes, it is good to have relations with countries, but you must have a path that you are charting for your country. You should not be basing where your country goes based on who you're connected with. And I think that's one of the areas where we're going to make a huge problem, create a huge problem, and not only for ourselves but for our nation and as far as where we need to be going.
So basically, you don't see any benefits at all from those visits that came here.
Well, I really don't. I'll be honest with you. Obviously, I really don't see any major benefit, country to country benefit, unless it is on the level of a financial, financial relation in terms of aid. You're looking at the concept of bringing nurses out of Ghana to work here in Barbados, okay? And when you look at the state of the nurses, as a matter of fact, the nursing Association in Ghana actually wrote the minister there in Ghana about this situation. So again, we're looking at what the relationship can actually afford Barbados in terms of moving us towards our destiny. And if it really doesn't, I really don't see the need for the relationship.
But talking about nursing, many people are not aware that the Barbados Labour Party administration, not this one, a previous one, actually put a cap on the nurses that we can actually have.
Yeah, then that also led to a lot of our nurses leaving Barbados to seek work in other countries. I know that for a fact because I had several relatives of my family that were nurses here in Barbados that left Barbados.
So imagine you're putting a cap on nurses who are actually here, and now you need nurses to come here.
Okay, well then even if you're going to bring those nurses here, I think when I watched the clip of the Ghanaian Minister of Health, when he was speaking, he made it clear that this is an exchange. As long as the nurses are taken care of, as long as they are paid, there should not be an issue. But in many cases, from what I've heard from one particular nurse, that you have individuals who are coming to Barbados, nurses themselves who are sick and are in need of medical attention before they can actually start to work. So that is a problem in itself. So what type of screening is Barbados doing in terms of these nurses that are coming, or are we leaving it up to the Ghanaian government to just pick 400 nurses and then send them over to Barbados? What is the standard under which we're receiving these nurses?
But I will tell you this from my personal point of view. I don't need any nurses from Africa to nurse me.
Okay.
Because they can't even nurse themselves. And I'm from there, and I'm saying that. They can't nurse themselves, so how can they nurse me? There are several diseases over there that we don't even want these people coming here to spread it. Ebola and that sort of thing, and rampage in that part of Africa.
Those are things that we have to be very careful with. And again, I think a lot of people don't want you to be critical of this government, but there's something called constructive criticism, okay? And in the multitude of counsel, the Bible says there's safety. And so it's important for us to understand as we go forward as a nation, what are the criteria, what are the standards that we're going to be using as we implement strategy going forward. And if you really have no standards, what do you have?
Now, I think that's an idiotic move. The Minister of Health, that's in the rear. This is the same guy who went down. Remember that guy that fell off the roof at Hammonds? And in the rear was there in 2 seconds. A white guy fell off the roof. I don't glorify death, but that should have been a black guy that fell off that roof. Because you import a white guy to work on a roof in Barbados on a major project? That's ridiculous. That's probably why he fell. These are things that we don't check.
Okay.
And he was there in a flash. I'm quite sure if that was a black guy, he would have gone there, but he would have taken hours to get there. Right? And his family probably was paid a tremendous sum because of his death. It should never have happened because he should have never have been here. That's an idiotic move. This move is an idiotic move. And we're adding you to the list of idiots in the ministry. So we now have 2 idiots in the Ministry of Transport, 1 idiot in the Ministry of Sport and Culture, and now another idiot in the Ministry of Health. Counting, and that's 4. As I say it, that's 4. And I say it plain, because I'm not scared of anyone. I don't care about you guys. I speak it as it is. Now, who would have paid? Because, they come as an entourage. They're not just coming for themselves. Who paid for this visit? Well, especially the state visit.
Obviously, it comes out of the public's purse. Okay, that's how traditionally that's how it is. The king makes merriment, but then the people pay for it. So that's really how these things are done most of the time.
These two visits were uncalled for, especially having one of the state visit. It's all publicity for absolutely no reason at all.
Well, let me say this, and again, this is one of the things. I spoke to a good friend of mine who was very heavily involved in the political arena in Guyana, who said that they told, I think it was the Ghana government, they told them that based on the state of the country at that time, they cannot set a state visit. Based on the state of the country.
Yes.
So I'm wondering how is Guyana able to do that? You know, and Barbados, that we're saying we're having so much financial issues, we can handle 2 state visit. I really
No. There were 2 state visits. One was a state visit, and the other one was a visit, but that would have received financial backing as well.
It had to be. You know, you have your army there, you have your band there, you have. I mean, come on, you have security. You know, all of these things must be in place when you have leaders of countries coming in. The United Nations, whenever they're having their General Assembly, when they have certain prominent presidents of countries coming in, they have to give them security. Most of these folk come with their own security, yes, but they have to give them security. And it takes money to do that.
As protocol, yes, it's protocol. Yeah. But that protocol should not have been placed because it should never have happened in the first place.
Barbados is going through a state right now where saving as much as possible is critical.
You know how many bus fares that those 2 visits could have paid?
No, let's not even go there.
You know how many buses those two visits could have paid for? Nonsense! Absolutely ridiculous. You don't want to be a showcase to the world with rubbish.
Not only that, but how many people could have been kept in their jobs with the use of that kind of...
Exactly, and these are things that need to be spoken about. The Prime Minister is being surrounded by idiots every day. And I'm going to call them out as they are. And as I told Grace, one of my watchers, I told Grace, she told me that they're going soon to shut me down, right? Shut me down when you can prove that what I'm saying is not true. The 2 ministers and the Minister of Transport are idiots. John King is an idiot. And DeVere is an idiot. That they're going to shut me down. And DeVere is an idiot. So we have 4, I'm counting. The Prime Minister, as brilliant as she is surrounded by idiots. And that's my view. What's your take on that?
Well, you know, again, and I think I've mentioned this before. I've mentioned this before in one of our previous sessions, that a leader is only as strong as the people that surrounds him or her. Okay? So you say you can be a great leader, but the people around you can actually dumb you down. They can make your leadership look inferior.
And that's exactly what's happening now. Because I know the Prime Minister personally. And I know that she's a brilliant person. But I also know that she's surrounded by idiots. And it's been proven every single day.
But you know, she's out of a family of lawyers.
Yes.
I think they're close, you know, speaking on the correction, at least 6 or 7 of her family members are lawyers.
Yeah, full respect to the Prime Minister.
And she herself, she is a lawyer. So, I mean, it's important that you surround yourself with the right people if you're going to get the job done.
And we love the Prime Minister. Apostle, this is the end of part 1. So we're going to make our exit. We'll be back very shortly with part 2. M.M Out There, over there, everywhere, all over the place. We'll be back very shortly. Time off for now.
Thank you, sir.
Make our exit.